Welcome back, everybody, to EPIC48 with Intel. We are continuing with our stage segments for the day. And as you can see, I am joined by a very special guest. If you've been watching on Epic Land 2 on Twitch, you may recognize this man, Panda Richie. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you very much, Rhino. Thank you. It's nice to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you. I'm very excited. This is a segment called On the Mic. It's very simple. You have had a storied career and history in esports, and we're just going to have a discussion about it. This is kind of an interview-style segment with one of the members of our community who's been around for a very, very long time and has some very interesting stories to tell. How does that sound?
That sounds good to me. Thank you, Rhino.
Let's do it then. Well, let's go all the way back to the beginning then, Panda, right? Back to your original kind of picking up of gaming. What is your earliest memory of gaming?
Okay, there's probably like a couple. I think the actual proper gaming memory was, I think I was, what, 12? And that's when I first got a DS Lite. That was my first ever console. I got Pokemon Platinum. But if we want to go further back, I remember as a kid, when the old Sky boxes, they used to have like Sky games. There was there was like a Shrek side-scroller game.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember that one.
No, it's a very niche. I remember playing that a lot growing up. Loved watching Shrek, and I saw there was a game there on Sky Games, and that's really interesting. I just remember it being like side scroller. You throw mud at your enemies. I'm honestly just trying to pick up the pieces in my brain, but I'd say that was like one of the first like memories I can remember. But anything after that to the Nintendo DS, there wasn't really much. I was very much into like board games and art and stuff.
So Shrek got you into gaming. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shrek got me into gaming.
Wonderful Shrek. Shrek is everywhere, guys. I absolutely tell you that for nothing.
Shrek is love. Shrek is life.
He certainly is, isn't he? Just so. As we kind of move through, then people often talk about, gamers have different phases in their careers, right? You pick up different types of games over the course of when you're playing video games. So, can you talk us through maybe some individual phases of games that you've had over the years?
Phases, so years, yeah. I mean, I'm getting on in my years, so I've had many phases, many phases. So, I think for one of the longest times, I was always into FPSs and shooters.
Yeah.
Like very early on when I was playing, video games, when I transitioned from Nintendo to like Xbox, Call of Duty, that was always the one. Even like never really a FIFA person, never really into, GTA. I was always Call of Duty, shooters, and I really enjoyed that multiplayer aspect. And then as I got older, I transitioned over to PC. Lot of Overwatch. Overwatch was probably one of my biggest games when I was getting into PC. That's what I spent quite a lot of time on. Transitioned then into Valorant, and then I've been commentating for that for quite a fair while, especially here at Epic Land, which is fantastic. Then as Valorant was not, I'd say, getting stale, but when you play something for so long, you slowly start getting burnt out. That's how I got it with Overwatch. Valorant, same thing. Kept dabbling in it. Transitioned to League, and then maybe bounce back to Valorant, and then bounce between the two. But recently, I've been playing a lot of fighting games. So a lot of 2XKO, a lot of Street Fighter, a little bit of Tekken, Guilty Gear especially, a lot of Guilty Gear, and a lot of 2XKO. So at the moment, my current phase is the fighting game genre, and with Avatar fighting game and Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls coming out right around the corner, that's just going to keep continuing.
I've been staying up to date with your Twitter and seeing you're very excited about those games.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, definitely. Any Smash Brothers in there? Or?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not a Smash. I'm not a platform fighter. I've tried playing Smash Bros. I might ruffle a few feathers. I dislike how janky it feels. There are a few mechanics in the way the game functions that I personally do not agree with and do not like. So that's one game I just stay away from.
Fair enough. Well, I'm going to quickly shout out my fellow Kirby mains. You know who you are. That's my Smash Brothers knowledge. Okay, so you're getting into that fighting game scene. That's really interesting. How are you finding the fighting games? Because that's only happened in the last kind of couple of months, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I'd say only within like the last year have I started properly picking up fighting games, but only within like the last 2 to 4 months have I actually really started cracking down and like started commentating on it.
Okay.
Especially with 2XKO, I think with that being the most recent addition and my love of League of Legends and the League of Legends lore, and with Riot having it as a fighting game,
All right. Some league love.
it made the game a lot easier for me to commentate because a lot of the knowledge and a lot of the ability names from League transitioned directly over into 2XKO. And that made it a lot easier. The only thing that was new to me was understanding fighting game terminology.
Right.
So a lot of the fighting game knowledge is what I didn't have. So as I was playing the game, I had to learn, specific terms, the way the game flows, and the type of game that 2XKO is very different to traditional fighters. So it was very unorthodox for me to go from, casting FPSs like Overwatch and Valorant to a tag fighter, which plays completely differently.
Okay.
But I really enjoy the challenge.
Good. Yeah, absolutely. You'll be seeing more of Panda on those fighting game broadcasts, I'm sure. So let's go back then and talk about your own university experience, because things didn't quite start out with like that esports love, did they? You went to university to study sports therapy, as far as I understand.
Yeah, so I've got a degree in sports therapy.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. But Twitch seemed to really call you during that time in your university. How did you manage your time between study and gaming? And did you actually, is a better question.
Great question, man. So in university, I was actually playing.
1, 2.
Woo!
Was the big game when I was in university, and it was one of the main games that I was streaming. So Osu was the main game that I was streaming at the time, slowly building up a small little community for myself. Wait, hold on. That's Hayden, we need that one. And I'd say for the first year, I was going off like my knowledge from college, and then my hyperfixation at the start kind of carried me through. So I didn't really do much studying outside of the classroom. So outside of it was a lot of gaming. So a lot of Osu, a lot of Destiny 2 as well. That was when Destiny 2 launched at the time.
Okay.
So I was playing a lot of that. So in terms of how I was managing, it was studying whilst I was at uni, and then just everything outside of that was just playing video games. But I got a degree at the end, so I must have done something right.
Yeah, you might listen. There are going to be a lot of people watching this stream and in this room who had a very, very similar experience.
100%.
So I wouldn't worry too much about it. Now, we mentioned obviously that it's going to be sports therapy that you got your degree in.
Yes.
What did you learn in your sports therapy course that, if anything, that you still use to this day?
So probably one of the biggest things that I still continue on from what I've learned at university into esports is a lot of the psychology.
Okay.
So going through the university course, I learned a lot about the human body, learned a lot about the functions, the different systems, muscular, skeletal, nervous systems, a lot of that, understanding how the body functions, what happens when you don't look after yourself, whether it's, lack of sleep, lack of exercise, everything that everyone here is a criminal for. And so understanding that helps me impart my knowledge to, my students as a teacher.
Yeah.
And, provide them with the advice as like, look, this is the reality of it. And another thing is that psychology. So, in sports therapy, we have to understand the psychology of a sports athlete. Very similar to an esports athlete, funnily enough, right? Because, if you are on a competition day, like we are here at EPIC right? You're going to be performing differently compared to a training session in the comfort of your own home, right? The environment changes a lot. Your mentality on the day can drastically differ, and that can directly affect your performance. So for those of you that don't know, there are 2 different types of stresses. There's distress and eustress. Distress is what most of us will feel day to day. That's when things get overwhelming, we get stressed. That's when all the negative thoughts start coming in. That's distress, right? Eustress is the good type of stress. So stress can be a positive. That's like your adrenaline, your stimulation, your motivation. That's the thing that gets you pumped up.
Okay.
If you hit like the sickest shot, or in like Rocket League, you see like a fantastic play, or you hit like a nutty shot, like banking off the wall, pinching, all that malarkey.
Yeah.
And you have that euphoric feeling of like, oh my God, that was amazing. That's like eustress. That's what like carries the motivation. And being able to differentiate the two, how to get into your own headspace, understanding where your flow state is.
Yeah.
A lot of that has really helped from sports therapy into esports, and it's something that a lot of people do not consider.
Sure.
And I like to make an emphasis on it because of how important that is.
Yeah, and before we move on, you mentioned that you were going to impart that onto some of your students, and we'll get onto your teaching career a little bit later on.
Yes.
Do your students take that on board? Do they listen all that often?
Well,
that's a naughty question. Sorry.
They do learn. The way
Okay.
I teach, I do make it as interactive as possible. So yeah, I'm very confident to say that my students do learn. But like any other student, there will be a lot of days where they'll be goofing off,
Sure.
messing around. But a lot of the knowledge that I do impart onto them, they do take very seriously. And I'm very lucky
Good.
that one of my cohorts has performed incredibly well and have achieved fantastic grades. And a lot of the stuff that I've spoken to them about, they've really taken on board. And I think part of it is the fact that I'm still involved with the esports scene
Sure.
quite often. So it gives them a reason, on my course to be like, okay, he actually knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, to kind of understand where you're coming from,
Yeah.
see that in action, and then go, oh, I can be that good if I listen to this guy.
Yes.
Yeah, that's very cool. So we spoke about your start in gaming, right? The earliest memories. Let's move on to the actual esports side of things, Panda. How did you first start getting involved with esports? Playing, casting, behind the scenes? What did that look like for you?
So when I started getting into esports when I was in university. So it was my second year of university.
Yep.
I really enjoyed playing games. Destiny 2, Osu, Overwatch. Those were some of the main games at the time when I was at uni.
Sure.
But esports wasn't something that I really knew about. So when I heard there was an esports society, I was like, oh, that sounds really cool. So I joined that. Saw that there was an Overwatch team. So I tried for that. There was, I think, 4 Overwatch teams, and I got placed in the second team.
Okay.
So then we was competing in Newell and NSC, and
What was your role?
I was playing the supports. I was a Zen main at the time. So this was
I'm a Zen main too.
No, nice. Yeah, I love the guy. I love Zen.
Such
He's-
a cool character.
Don't play the game anymore, but
No, right.
I love Zen. But this was also during Goats meta, where it was
Okay, yeah.
triple tank, triple support. So take that as you will. But I remember getting involved.
Aging yourself there, Panda.
Pardon?
Aging yourself there.
I
with
know.
that.
Yeah, Jesus.
It's a long time
That's
ago.
a very long time ago.
Yeah.
But got my start within esports in that, which was really fun. So I really, really enjoyed that. But then after the second year of uni, Overwatch really, really burnt me out. So I tried to trial it for the following year, but I really disliked the game, especially mainly because of the Goats meta.
Yeah.
I didn't really enjoy it towards the tail end of the Newell and NSC seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of fun. Meeting everyone was fantastic, and I had a great time. But that spark just kind of fizzled out. Again, with the burnout and everything, I just had to take a step back.
Yeah.
So I didn't really pick up esports much more after that. So I was aware of the scene then. Then a couple years, after finishing my degree, I got a part-time job at a gaming cafe in Coventry.
Oh, nice.
There
Okay.
was a gaming cafe that set up, and this was post-COVID.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was finishing university whilst COVID was going on.
Sure.
And then one of the event organizers who was working for the company at the time, they suggested that if I wanted to get into more esports apply at EPIC. And then that was for EPIC47.
Yeah.
That was a fair few years ago now.
A while ago.
And that's how, things started rolling, essentially.
There you go. That's how things started. They start at Epic, folks. Come to Epic Land. It's a great move for not just you personally, but for your career as well. And that career then spiraled off, right? You started getting more gigs off the back of Epic Land. Was it that Epic Land experience that kind of gave you that platform to move on and get more casting jobs?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I was dabbling in a little bit of casting here and there, but casting was always something that I really was looking up to. Like I always respected, the commentators, the people, on the camera, talk about the games, as they're going on, and that was always the sticking point for me. That's what
Sure.
I really, really enjoyed. That's what when I first got my experience listening into this, I was like, that's what I want to try.
Yeah.
I want to give that a go. That looks really fun. And then as the months and the weeks went by, practicing a little bit more, getting an opportunity to do Epic Land, it just kept igniting. And it's something that I've never really stopped loving.
Yeah.
It's like that passion that keeps on going, and I love commentating, and it's so much fun.
Yeah, and we can tell that you enjoy it as well, right? That comes through on the screen. And it's one of the most important things that when you're a caster, a stage host, whatever you are in esports, if you don't enjoy it, everyone will know and find out.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely.
For sure. So, obviously, you talked about Epic Land being your first big event. Was there an event outside of Epic Land that you've been able to experience over the last couple of years that you go, God, I'm going to remember that for a long time?
So, yeah, shortly after, doing some Valorant at Epic, I was able to get involved with NSC when, a certain event that was running at the time, no longer happening anymore.
Yeah, we don't talk about it.
We don't talk about it, but
yeah.
the NSC finals was taking place there, and I got a great opportunity to commentate for it, and it was really, really fun. It was nerve-wracking because it was one of the first big major events that I was commentating for, in the grand scheme of things at the time. So I was very, very nervous, but I'm really glad I got that experience because, through that, building a lot of connections, meeting a lot of people, and it allowed me to network and explore in a way that I didn't necessarily thought I was going to be able to do, because these connections, they start popping up on my timeline, and then the algorithm, it start finding people that are like kindred spirits and more like-minded people, and then finding these opportunities is something that I always try to grasp. If there's an opportunity going, I'll pick it up. But it's always just fun working alongside lots of different tournament organizers, helping people out, and getting involved with events, because people want events to run, people want tournaments to happen, and sometimes they don't have the talent or the network or the necessary means to have let's say competent commentators on the broadcast. Sometimes tournament organizers might be worried about the quality, and that's something I love to help support.
Yes, absolutely. There's a word that you used there when you were talking about the events that you enjoy, networking. I don't think many people realize how important not just being good, but networking when you get to those events is. Can you talk to that a little bit?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so networking is so important. I think if I didn't do any networking, I don't think I would have done near enough the tournaments that I would have under my belt that I would have now, because reaching out to people, finding researching into what's happening on in the scene is so important, and just not being afraid to just send a message out to a tournament organizer saying, hey, look, I'm really interested in commentating your event. If there's any opportunities going, could you please help me out? I'd love to build up my experience. And if you build a positive rapport, and I think that's one of the biggest things that people forget, is we're all human beings. People will remember you. So you got to make a good first impression. And so if you're in someone's good books, your name will stick. More opportunities come up. They could recommend you to wider set of people, and then that network becomes this web that continuously keeps growing. And just being aware of the scene that you're in, the people that are around you, who they are, what their positions are, and doing a little bit of background research to understand where your place is and where you can find yourself is one of the biggest challenges that you might find starting out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just about talking to people when you get to those events, right? Even before that, online networking is a huge thing as well.
100%.
Just making sure that you get in people's DMs, make sure that you are known to people, and you'll find opportunities off the back of that as well. It's such an important thing. You're right. We're going to have a bit of fun now.
Okay.
Panda, all right? And to break the fourth wall a little bit, I have sent you over the questions before we got here today.
Yes.
Now, that means you've had time to think about this next question.
Yes, I have had a little bit of time.
You are known as a man who enjoys shooter games.
Yes.
And you've been playing shooter games for a very, very long time.
Yes, I have.
I would like you to rank the following games in your professional opinion. All right, from best to worst, not most played, not enjoy the most, best categorically to worst. All right, Valorant, Counter-Strike 2, Overwatch, Marvel Rivals, and Call of Duty Black Ops 2.
Okay, I'm gonna put Overwatch at the bottom.
Wow, that's your OG. You're gonna switch up on your OG like that?
Yeah, no, as much as that game holds a lot of memories, I just do not enjoy the game
Okay.
that much more.
All right.
I think over the years, it's just waned on me. So I will put Overwatch at the bottom. I will put Marvel Rivals above it.
That makes sense.
Yep. So those are the bottom two. Next one up will be. I'm gonna put Valorant.
Ooh.
Okay. I'm gonna put Valorant.
Okay. Big call.
And then Counter-Strike's going to be above Valorant.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to put Black Ops 2 as the top one.
Is it the best Call of Duty of all time?
Oh, 100%.
I think so.
Yes, 100%. Like, from a multiplayer and a zombie standpoint.
Yeah.
Like, you could argue, Black Ops 1, but Black Ops 2 for me is the best.
That's fair enough. I will say I'm a World at War enjoyer. I very much enjoyed that when it came out, but yeah, I think Black Ops 2 just as an all-round game was elite.
So Black Ops 2 as the best.
There you go.
Followed by Counter-Strike, then Valorant, then Marvel Rivals, then Overwatch.
Very good, very good. Remember, Panda is not loyal. That's what you got to remember now from for the future. No, fair enough. Bit of fun there. So now that we've done that, there is an elephant in the room that we haven't addressed yet, which is of course your teaching career.
Yes.
You are now an esports lecturer, and we kind of found out how you got there a little bit earlier on, but maybe talk a little bit more to that. How did this opportunity at Coventry College come about?
So it's really interesting. So like post-COVID, I was bounced between a couple jobs. I got my start in education as a one-to-one support worker.
Okay.
So it's a system called a graduate coach where people who don't have teaching degrees can go into, educational institutions and support, high learning, like high need learners.
Okay.
Right. So that's the way I got my start. I started off in foundation and construction. So a lot of the rowdy kids, kids with, basically no GCSEs,
Sure.
a lot of high needs, and supporting them, which was challenging, but also very rewarding.
Yeah, for sure.
And that was for about 6 months. And then an esports position came up in the same college. Esports was already running at Coventry College for a couple years already. And once I found that out, I was like, that's the department I want to support. So following academic year, I was helping the digital departments with the grad coaching, and then one of the staff members left, which opened up a position for an esports lecturer.
Okay.
And so I jumped onto that straight away, and I already had prior experience coming here to EPIC48, so I had a little bit of knowledge already under my belt, and that's what helped secure me that position.
Okay.
So that's essentially how I got it. So basically what happened is, teaching wasn't never in the cards.
Okay.
It kind of just happened, and I stumbled into it, and now I'm been doing it for like the last 3 years.
There you go. And obviously the follow on from that, how are you finding it? 3 years down? How is it going?
I really enjoy it. Teaching is very rewarding, very frustrating. I deal with a variety of personalities in the classroom, people coming from all walks of life.
Absolutely.
And so, the challenges come, with, the kids that come into the college, right? But with the esports course as it is and how I run it, I find a lot of enjoyment and success from it.
Yeah.
One of the biggest struggles is that esports lecturers are very rare to find.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, they are a diamond in the rough for a lot of institutions, because most of the time it would be IT lecturers or gaming lecturers that will teach the esports course, because they don't have people who specialize in esports.
Right.
So the college is quite lucky to have me, and I do, through this I've been able to network with other esports lecturers, and every single one of us has such a big passion for esports. And some lecturers will they teach a different subject they might not enjoy, they just do it for the sake of it, right?
Yeah,
but
right.
Us esports lecturers, we really enjoy it. We love what we do, because not only do we get to teach something that we thoroughly enjoy as a passion or a hobby outside of it and bring it into the classroom, there's also a plethora of opportunities that we have to get involved with the esports scene in the UK.
Yeah. It's really phenomenal to hear about that journey and to hear that, you know, teaching wasn't really on the cards until very recently. You know, it can happen a little bit later on. Now, there's a secondary question to this, but I do want to get onto this discussion point because I think it's really important. There has been a lot of discussion in the esports community around the validity of esports university and college courses, esports business, production, that kind of course. What do you have to say to the people that have doubts about esports specific courses? Like, why should a kid who's interested in kind of esports production do an esports production course instead of a regular TV production course at university?
So I'll have to differentiate this question into like at two levels.
Okay.
So one at college and then one at university. So from a college level, from which I teach at, I think esports is so like not mandatory but so important, because a lot of the kids growing up now, like a lot of them on social media, right? TikTok, you know, Instagram, you know, Twitch, YouTube. They're all familiar with those platforms, right?
Yeah.
They all enjoy gaming, whether it's Fortnite, Roblox, FIFA, you know, whatever their parents grew up with, right? There's more than likely they're going to have a console at home.
Yeah.
And esports at a college level is so important because we teach such a broad variety or a wide range of skills that go into esports. Like, one of the biggest things that I have to emphasize to parents and to the kids themselves is that, yes, you're on an esports course, but you're not here to play the games. You're here to learn about the entire industry outside of being a competitive player.
Exactly.
Because a lot of the kids will be like, oh yeah, I like playing games. Okay, cool, that's great. What else do you know about esports? It's like, you can be a professional player. It's like, okay. Right, I'm going to teach you everything outside of that.
Yes.
So what that leads to is kids who are unsure of what it is that they actually want to do. It helps them find their niche, because I teach business, I teach psychology, I teach health and well-being, nutrition, events management, social media, video editing, content creation, live streaming, coaching, laws and legislation, esports networking, like computers and like data and stuff like that. So there's like on esports course, there is bound to be something that the kid will enjoy.
Yeah, for sure.
And through that, they can take that further and specialize it, okay? And that's when we get into university. Now, depending on the university, there will be some that specialize in esports broadcast production, like EPIC48, right? That's a really, really good one because that specifically focuses in on that course. Other universities, however, continue on this trend at college where they have a broad scope. So they offer a wide range of, you know, content and subjects. So they take that college course, apply it to a university, and essentially up the ante and up the technical knowledge.
Sure.
And you know, I've heard many mixed things, like many mixed thoughts and opinions on that structure versus, you know, the structure of when if you like specialize.
Yeah.
You know, setting my opinions aside, you know, the university will want to conduct it how it is, but I do feel that a lot of universities are missing out on that specialism, and there's very few that do offer it. You know, obviously, please correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I've seen from most universities is that they offer that broad range. So at university level, if it's not specializing, are you getting your worth out of it? I'd say no, but at a college standpoint, for like 16 to 18-year-olds, you know, like learning to navigate through life, it's so important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because alongside of all the subjects, you learn a lot of skills as well.
Yes.
Like, a lot of the kids don't understand how much like teamwork and coordination and like just general people skills you actually need.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's crazy.
Even going beyond like college, and let's say you don't want to go to university, when it gets into the world of work, you learn skills such as networking, employability skills, you know, teamwork, communication, public speaking, you know, note taking, you know, being able to work with others, and like organization, time management, right? All these types of skills are so important to take into, you know, the rest of your life. So in terms of the validity of, you know, is an esports course, important, right? It depends on the perspective you look at it. At a college level, I think it's like so important. I think a lot of the kids nowadays, from what I've seen, like inside the college, a lot of them have no idea what they want to do.
Yeah, right.
Lots of them are like, oh, I'm here at college because my parent told me to. Like, I don't know what I want to do. So esports offers an opportunity for them to be like, oh, I actually really enjoy, graphics design. I love creating overlays. I love doing all the animations. Yeah, right. That's what they can then specialize in, take that further. But it depends like how you want to view it. I think it's important, but that's me.
Absolutely. Well, it's very clear that you seem to think that it's important. You've got a lot to say on the matter. You're very passionate, and it's been a pleasure to talk to you today, Panda. Thank you so much for taking time out. If you want to catch more of Panda Rich, you can head over to Epic Land 2 on Twitch, and we have got the Valorant games coming up a little bit later on. I believe the next one is at 4:30.
Yes, it is.
You will not want to leave the stage, because coming up next, right here on this stage, we've got a very exciting segment called What Happens Next. You won't want to miss it. Stay tuned.